Curiosity will oftentimes lead you places that you least expect. This is part 3 of Emma Grede and the PR Machine. What started out as genuine curiosity about how Emma Grede landed on all of our For You pages simultaneously, taking the social media platforms by storm, getting interviews with just about every podcast host, as well as with Oprah. Over the last several weeks, we've seen her take over our timelines, and I was just curious about the fact of who was the PR machine behind Emma Grede. For context, I am the founder and CEO of a PR agency, and I'm an award-winning crisis communications and public relations strategist. So this is right up my alley. I love the art and science of public relations, and so I'm always interested to see how the machine works for different celebrities, brands, businesses, because it helps me better inform how I approach client work. So with that being said, I found that Emma Grede was represented by the JonesWorks agency, who was founded and is currently run by their CEO, Stephanie Jones. In my research, I found that Stephanie Jones has quite the controversial history and that she is currently involved in some pretty serious litigation. For a quick recap for those who are just joining us, Stephanie Jones, founder and CEO of JonesWorks Agency, Justin Baldoni, who is the director, producer of It Ends With Us and currently in a lawsuit with Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Stephanie Jones, and Jennifer Abel, Stephanie Jones' former partner at the JonesWorks Agency. Part 1 and Part 2 cover the relationship between these three and how Stephanie Jones is currently being sued by Justin Baldoni, and she is also being sued by Jennifer Abel due to what has been described as a incredibly toxic work environment. She also ran her business for 13 years without having an HR department. So, more about that in Part 1 and Part 2. Part 3 is going to be focused on Emma Grede, Good American, and the work culture that apparently exists in that environment. I'm reading this information directly from the Good American website. It states that in 2016, Emma Grede launched Good American with Khloe Kardashian to empower all women to celebrate their bodies with confidence by offering high-quality designs in all sizes. And what started out as the largest denim launch in history has evolved into an iconic and inclusive fashion line of denim, ready-to-wear, swim, shoes, and activewear. It notes that Emma attended the London School of Fashion and got her start working in fashion show production before founding ITB, a talent management and entertainment marketing agency, where she was the CEO. ITB was acquired by Rogers & Cowan, with Emma exiting the company. This was Emma's second successful company exit before starting Good American. The website states that in addition to founding her own businesses and investing in a number of startups, Emma is an advocate for driving change and championing diverse and inclusive representation across the industry, which is evident through her work as a chairwoman of the 15% Pledge. She also serves as an advocate for women's rights and female empowerment, serving as an active trustee and board member of Women for Women International, and also serves on the board of Baby to Baby. Emma Grede is currently living in Los Angeles with her husband, who is a Swedish entrepreneur, Jens Grede, and together they have 4 children. These things are important to note because Emma Grede has some very interesting takes on women in the workplace, work-life balance, and parenting. Emma Grede declares herself to be a 3-hour mom, where she explains that after being with her kids from 9 a.m. to noon on weekends, quote, "I am done with these 4, moving on to other activities that fill my cup." She believes that some women might be 2-hour moms and that she does not need to read school emails or take part in things that constitute overparenting as she sees it. She went on to say that cutting sandwiches into star shapes, that was never it for me. She acknowledges that her style is made possible by her family's team, which includes nannies, cleaners, a chef, and a chief of staff. In a recent article, Emma compared time spent with her children to limited edition fashion collabs, noting that she likes to create high-impact core memories through big moments like fishing trips or trips to New York City. Of course, we know that these comments were going to go viral, and so Emma fought back with her response stating that, "Listen, I really want to be honest about this. I spend all my time working and I'm a mom of 4. I think that I am the core memory mom. I'm not going to walk it back," she said on The Breakfast Club. All women need breaks, and what I want to do is destigmatize the idea of what it means to be a mother who works. The idea that you have to constantly be of service to your family, to everyone around you, is unrealistic if you're going to be successful. She added that she has no mom guilt, likes to be home at 5:30 to do dinner and bedtime routines with her kids, so is actually doing more than 3 hours, and that is all they really need is someone to rely on and to love them. She states that it's not our job to usher our kids through every single moment of the day, and she added that they will figure it out, and it's fine for them to get bored and put on the TV. Of course, we know that this really hit a nerve with a lot of people, and there are many points that I agree with Emma Grede, that it does take a certain level of sacrifice to be successful, but I also don't believe that work-life balance can't be incorporated in having a successful career. But I digress. I am someone that believes birds of a feather flock together, and finding out that Emma Grede is represented by the PR agency Jones Works, which is run by Stephanie Jones, who has a very controversial history of being a toxic work employer. I was curious to know what the work environment is like at Good American. So I went over to Glassdoor, and some of the reviews were shocking. For starters, on Glassdoor, Good American has 2.9 stars. Only 37% of respondents indicated that they would recommend this workplace to a friend. The ratings by category range from 2.1 for work-life balance up to 3.8 for compensation and benefits. In this employee review, they state that you have high growth, but it's a stressful environment. The pros include the company has seen amazing growth, which brings lots of opportunities for personal development. It's a smaller company with a family feel, and that senior leadership are skilled and have an achievable vision for the company. And there's also great benefits. But the cons are that the teams run extremely lean, which means you need to do a lot of things not in your job description and things you may not be qualified for. That it has a stressful startup type environment when you're expected to work 12 hours a day and weekends. Also indicating that there is high turnover rates, which is a testament to the work culture and work-life balance. Another former employee indicates that there are talented people working across various teams that care about the work and what the brand originally stood for, but the cons are that the leadership can be aggressive, dismissive, and exclusionary, and often gets in its own way. Several leaders do not engender a spirit of teamwork or collaboration. Behaviors like avoiding eye contact, ignoring contributions in meetings, or excluding people from conversations can create an uncomfortable and unproductive environment. There is also a clear favoritism and an inner circle dynamic, and the culture reinforces the same voices and perspectives, creating systemic barriers to advancement for those outside that circle. Another concern is that the number of directors and senior leaders elevated quickly without the industry experience typically required for those roles. 5 or 6 years of experience does not equate to the leadership perspective that usually comes with a decade or more in the field, and it shows in the inconsistent direction teams receive. That the company has also experienced several rounds of layoffs, 3 to 4 in recent years, and this just continues to go on and on. There are pages of negative reviews from former employees. And I always say that you have to take Glassdoor reviews with a grain of salt, because these could be employees that maybe walked away or were pushed out of the organization due to performance or other issues. But I also do believe that there is some validity in some of these claims that are being stated. So you have to take it for what you think it is. I do want to note that there are some 5-star reviews because we want to show both sides of the story. There is an indication that some employees felt that this was a great company to work for and that they enjoyed their time there. There were no cons that they could think of. And others felt that this was a rewarding brand to work for and that the diversity, culture, and community was very positive. So I want to show both sides because we're not biased, nor are we attempting to tear down Emma Grede or the organization. We simply want to shed light on what is said versus maybe what is actually happening in real time. So, with my original question answered of who is the PR machine behind Emma Grede, and now finding out that that PR agency, while successful in its own right, has a very toxic work culture, and knowing that this agency is partly responsible for Emma rise in recent weeks. So should women expect that if they want to be successful and own a business, that they have to create a toxic work environment to do so, and that they also have to neglect their responsibilities as mothers and wives? I don't know. I personally disagree with the notion that you can't have a healthy work-life balance, that you can't offer your staff the opportunity to have flexibility and autonomy. Yes, the work has to be done, but there are many ways to do it, and I feel like Emma Grede and even Stephanie Jones' position on how to get it done is incredibly flawed. However, I will go on to state that I am building a business. I've not yet reached the level of success that they are at, and so I'm curious to know, are there businesses that are out there that are led by women that allow their employees to prioritize themselves before the work? I'm not sure. Maybe you know. Drop down in the comments and let's discuss it.